The accuracy of the words are also reliable. So next question, does archaeology support the Bible? The Bible is not a collection of cleverly invented stories, according to 2 Peter 1:16. It is full of names, people, places, stories that can be verified. Thousands of ancient writings from hundreds of sites have been excavated, confirming the Bible's accuracy. Of course, not all archaeologists agree on dates and interpretation. Cutting technology changes previously set datings, and new artifacts suddenly bring people into existence. But it is compelling and worth investigating on our journey of proof.
I agree. Archaeology and what archaeology can tell us is important as to what actually happened in reality. Archaeology, when taken honestly, can tell us whether or not the Bible is accurate in its history. I would love for you to provide fucking citations for how archaeology supports the Bible. Because as I've found, archaeology does not support the Bible other than establishing that certain people and places existed in history, which do not prove that the events surrounding those people and places actually happened. Right. Harry Potter uses London. Because the UK exists, that means Harry Potter's real. Or New York means that Spider-Man is a true story. It doesn't mean that, but that is akin to what she's saying here.
Here are just a very few select archaeological findings that support the Bible. Many ancient cities such as Babylon, Ur, Beersheba, they're mentioned in the Old Testament, have been located and date back to coordinating times in the Bible. There's also proof of the Hittite population. These were enemies of the Israelites that didn't exist until the 19th century. What is believed to be the city of Sodom was discovered and appeared to be abandoned suddenly, as stated in Genesis 19.
Okay, so there's a few things to clarify here. For one thing, with the Sodom deal, there's been a place that's been discovered in the general area where biblical scholars think that Sodom would have existed that was hit by an asteroid. This is found in a Forbes article that discusses a recent scientific discovery, but not scientific, archaeological, with one caveat: the archaeologist is actually Philip J. Sylvia of, and see if you can guess this, Trinity Southwest University. Do you know what Trinity Southwest University is? Ding, ding, ding. If you guessed a Christian unaccredited university, you would be correct. So it's an unaccredited Christian doctrinal university that's produced this archaeologist, which he's from there. I don't know if he got his archaeology degree from there, but he apparently teaches at the university, and he's an archaeologist, and he's established that this is Sodom, when in reality they don't know that it is Sodom. They haven't actually shown that it's Sodom. Like, they haven't found street signs that say Whore Street Sodom or something like that. They haven't found that. All they found is a city that once existed in this one place. It seems to have been hit by an asteroid or a giant meteorite. So they just flat out say, oh, this must be Sodom, because it checks off all of the fire and brimstone and destruction type thing of Sodom. They have a name for it. Tal el Hammam is the city name. The Forbes article that I have concludes that if Tel el Hammam is Sodom and it was destroyed by a cosmic airburst, the biggest question remains: did somebody, perhaps a deity, order the asteroid hit on Sodom? She's just automatically assuming, and so is this archaeologist, automatically assuming that this is Sodom. But it just seems to me like the Sodom and Gomorrah story is bullshit that's meant to teach some kind of lesson to the Israelites. That you gotta obey God and not want to gay fuck his angels, and also be opening to people to your home in order to not get destroyed by God. That's what it seems to tell me.
Jericho excavations show that it was violently destroyed, as the account details in Joshua 6. King David's palace was recovered. Herod the Great's palace was also found, where Jesus was tried.
Okay, so for Jericho, there has been archaeological evidence of Jericho existing, but it's got a caveat. It's got a little mark on it, right? The wall that surrounded Jericho collapsed or was destroyed by an earthquake in the late 17th century and early 16th century BCE. So right around that, straddling that line right there, the walls of Jericho were destroyed. Now the problem is, is that in the Bible, around 1400 BCE, Jericho was attacked by the Israelites by them marching around the city 7 times, blowing their horns and having a hissy fit. God destroyed the walls of Jericho and they invaded. Now, why is this an issue? Well, for one thing, the walls were destroyed late 17th to early 16th century BCE. Another problem is that from the late 15th century BCE to the 10th century BCE, the city was uninhabited. So the 15th century BCE starts in 1500 and runs down to 1400. So about 100 years prior to when the Israelites supposedly knocked down the walls of Jericho, Jericho was deserted. So if you want to imagine it, the Israelites are surrounding the city, this empty city, and then they storm an empty city. I don't know if they were doing this for practice or what, but it was empty. So there's no way that the biblical version of the Israelites taking on Jericho actually happened.
Stone tablets have been recovered proving that Pontius Pilate existed, which had been up for debate. The Bible lists detailed genealogies in Genesis, Numbers, Chronicles, Ezra, Matthew, and Luke. These confirm prophecy that Jesus was from the line of David and reinforce scriptural accuracy and historic timelines.
Wait. Which genealogy? Is it the Matthew genealogy that establishes all this bullshit? Or is it the Luke genealogy that establishes all this bullshit? Because they're both different. They're both not consistent with each other. Which one establishes this? Because I feel like you saying all of this bullshit means that it somehow confirms that it's reality or that it happened in history. It didn't.